The Diddler, man. I don't know. I can't keep up with this dude, bro. Like every time I look at online, it's something else, man. Oh my gosh, I can't keep up with you, bro. But Diddy is facing new allegations. Oh, I ain't watched this video. We're just gonna do a reaction to it. I am doing a documentary on Kim Porter that be Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his children, and her life and her mysterious death that some people are linking to Diddy. So that'll be coming out in 2 weeks. If you want to catch that, please subscribe to the channel and like that, comment down, do all that. That helps the channel grow. It's diplomatic community. I'm your boy Nino. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Gang gang. Now, Crime Watch Daily has been doing an amazing job on covering this, bro. They dropped stuff. Hey, this 27 minutes though, so we might not get into the whole thing, but we're gonna get into a chunk of it. If you want to watch the rest, or if you want to watch it without any reactions, definitely go to Crime Watch Daily or True Crime Daily. I'm sorry, and it's Diddy faces allegations. TikTok murder suspect testifies in his defense, and I'll link it in the comments down below too, just to show a little love since I am still in a content, kinda, sort of.
But first, allegations continue to pile up against Sean Diddy Combs as disturbing footage of an alleged assault perpetrated by the rapper surfaces online. Today, we're very excited to be joined by Nima Rahmani, a personal injury attorney and the president and co-founder of West Coast Trial Lawyers. Nima is a legal analyst and a commentator you can catch on Court TV, Law and Crime, and many other networks. Nima, welcome back. It's been way too long.
Thanks for having me, Josh. It has been. I'm excited. We have a lot to cover today.
We do have a lot to cover, and I feel like I've already heard your thoughts on many of these cases we're going to be talking about, because every time I turn on the TV, there's Nima telling me how what he thinks about the case already. So I'm glad that we got a chance to have you on the show again. Always appreciate these conversations, and always because I feel like you bring such a thoughtful perspective to the cases. And one of them, the first one we're going to talk about, is one that I know that you've been following very closely. It is involving a hip-hop mogul is facing additional allegations of sexual misconduct as disturbing footage comes to light, which appears to depict him assaulting his then partner. Allegations against Sean Diddy Combs have been mounting since November of last year, when his former girlfriend, Cassandra, also known as Cassie Ventura, filed a lawsuit accusing the entrepreneur of a decade-long pattern of sexual and physical abuse. While the lawsuit was ultimately settled a day after the filing, additional alleged victims filed lawsuits over the following months, eventually culminating in a Homeland Security raid on Diddy's homes in Miami and Los Angeles as part of a sex trafficking investigation. Video footage surfaced last week from an incident at an LA hotel where a towel-clad Diddy appears to chase down Cassie, who has her bags packed, perhaps in an attempt to escape, before the rapper throws her to the ground, beating and kicking the woman before dragging her down a hallway. Diddy has since issued an apology video regarding the incident. While he doesn't mention Cassie's name in the video, he takes responsibility for the actions and claims to be disgusted by his behavior. However, in the wake of the surveillance video and apology, another accuser has come forward claiming that Diddy approached the then 17-year-old model with enticements of furthering her career before allegedly forcing her to perform sex acts on him. While lawsuits continue to pile up against Diddy, he has not been charged criminally and roundly rejects the allegations leveled against him. All right, that was a mouthful. There's a lot going on for Diddy. But first, in regards to this last video, the DA's office in Los Angeles has already come out and said, Nima, that they are closing the book on any kind of criminal filing here because it's beyond the statute of limitations. My question, though, is does that mean that that's the end of Diddy's problems for this video, or do you think it could be used in another way?
Josh, I think Diddy will be prosecuted. It's not a matter of
So we just gonna skip over the fact that he enticed a 17-year-old? Okay. The Catholic thing is more important, I'm guessing. It's weird.
Media will be introduced to evidence. And obviously, we both live in Los Angeles. I live a mile away from Diddy's home, very close to the Intercontinental Hotel in Century City where this all took place. But in California, at the time, 2016, we had a 3-year statute on felony assault and domestic violence. It was recently extended to 5 years. But even though the conduct is outside the statute of limitations, we know that clever prosecutors like you and I once were can get this in. I think this is what we would say is prior bad acts evidence, right? It's going to
Yeah.
show a pattern of physical and sexual violence on the part of Diddy. And we know that the search warrant of his Los Angeles and Miami homes, that was executed by HSI.
No, that's true. That shows a pattern of behavior. That's kind of like why they told Tory Lanez not to take the stand, because August Alsina, all that stuff like that, and him punching on people and stuff like that. So it would have been a bad representation. So
It was federal prosecutors at the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York who went and got those search warrants. And we know that they also love a good Rico indictment. You know, they used
Yeah.
in R. Kelly, they used in other cases as well. And as a RICO predicate act, you could use conduct that's outside the statute. So I wouldn't be surprised if an indictment is unsealed, we see RICO charges, and one of those predicate acts is this physical assault and violence that we saw.
I'm so glad that you brought that up about the predicate acts in RICO, because that is something that I think it's difficult for some people to understand. We've talked on this channel before, oftentimes, about prior bad acts and how it doesn't matter the statute of limitations. If you're trying to prove something like, in this case, it would have to be domestic violence, and you can show that a person has prior acts of domestic violence, you can use it. And in fact, in California, you can use it even to show that he has a predilection, is predisposed to being someone who commits acts of domestic violence. But his bigger problem, as you pointed out, is the federal case, because he's being federally investigated. And if they're going to bring some sort of RICO charge or effort or theory, they can use this as well in a very similar way as a predicate act. Now, my question is, that raid took place, we're going on a couple of months now or more. Why do you think it's taking so long? Do you think, my feeling has always been that that wasn't the beginning of an investigation, that was towards the end of an already ongoing investigation. But why do you think they still have not indicted him?
Josh, I'm surprised. I agree with you.
man, the feds, they take their time. I don't know what these dudes talking about. They take their time. They build their case. They get all the evidence they can so they can win that case. You know, the feds got a 98% conviction rate, or 97, however much, still high as hell. And Diddy got a lot of resources and a lot of good paid lawyers, so they gonna make sure they take their time with him, if they get him or not.
Prosecutors, they don't get a search warrant until they're close to the end. And this is why people can take off, especially people with significant means like Diddy. And I'm not saying that he's going to abscond, but there's always that risk. And evidence can disappear. So you don't want to execute a search warrant, because that's going to put someone on notice that they're very likely going to get charged and charged soon. So one of two things is going on here. Either something was recovered from those raids that is sort of pushing prosecutors in another direction. I think that's unlikely, because more and more victims and video evidence are coming forward. Or
Man, that just brings back to the video that I just like try to debunk on Kim Kardashian. They say they found some tapes of Kim Kardashian actually performing in sex parties. You know, them people wicked, bro. Like, I don't know what they doing in their personal life. I ain't just gonna be no conspiracy theorist, even though I love me some conspiracy theories. But maybe that's what's holding it back. Maybe it's more people they found on there, and they trying to bring charges up on everybody. Do it, cause if you wanna do a RICO case, you ain't just trying to get Puff. You trying to bring down a whole enterprise, as long as other people too. And Kim got that prison reform thing and stuff like that. So who knows?
for some reason, they're still combing through the evidence that they seized. Now, if you believe Cassie Ventura, Diddy would record these sex acts. She said that, she was forced to have sex with male prostitutes and she was raped. Diddy would actually record it himself. And there's also allegations that he had cameras, some hidden and some not, throughout the home. So maybe agents are still coming through that. But again,
Hey, I say believe all women, but I was watching this interview with Whack 100, and he said that Cassie actually was picking out the dudes and stuff like that because Diddy an older dude and stuff like that, and she wasn't really all that attracted to him. It was about the money, really. And she wanted to have sex with other men, and Diddy was into that, so he obliged. But he get mad when she had sex with men that he ain't know about. Like, yeah, it be some cucks like that, Brody.
I'm really at a loss. I thought Diddy should have been charged by now. And I think it's a matter of days or weeks until he is. This video, which CNN did a great job of getting, by the way, I mean, fantastic work, is this going to put more pressure on prosecutors to act and to act soon? I mean, it sounds like one of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood. And,
Yeah.
as it's really a Me Too type situation. And I really got to think that Diddy is going to be charged and it's going to happen in a matter of days or weeks.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I felt the same way 2 months ago when he was first had those raids executed. I thought to myself, the federal government is media savvy enough to realize that kind of a public raid on this high profile of a person was going to make the news circuit spin, and that they were going to have some answers for what they were going in there for. And I thought, okay, well, they knew that they were going to create a firestorm and that these charges are going to be coming very quickly. And then they haven't. Not to say, the government moves fairly slowly, so they could still be operating at a quick pace by their standards, but we just haven't seen them yet. But I think you make an excellent point that if there is a large cache of electronics and computers and cell phones and other media that needs cracking into, that might be what's taking some of the time too, is that they've got to just.
That's also true. iPhone, a lot of times they won't give up information and they won't oblige to like subpoenas and stuff like that, because by law they have a privacy law with their customers and stuff like that, so they're not allowed to get up that information. But sometimes they do, so if they don't, then they gotta encrypt it and pretty much hack into it. That's wow shit, bro. So that could be taken in a little bit too, but I think maybe a little bit more people involved in this than we think.
Get into all these devices and be able to analyze all of it and get all of their ducks in a row before they bring what could be a colossal indictment, and by colossal I mean against such a high profile person. What did you have any experience? I know you were a federal prosecutor before. Did you have experience with cases like this, Rico cases, sex cases, or no? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I mean, we have experience with the Rico cases, but it's your traditional drug trafficking organization, street gang, the mob, right? We're seeing the Rico used in different types of cases. Some people, criminal defense lawyers especially, think it's being overused. Obviously, we know Trump is being charged with Rico stateside there in Georgia, but you have Nexium, right? That sex ring R. Kelly talked about. So some folks think that Rico is being overused, but federal prosecutors, they love it for many reasons. You can bring in a lot of defendants, a lot of evidence. There's some seizures that can happen as well, prejudgment. So it's a pretty important investigative tool, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see in this case, because if you look at the allegations on the civil side, you're looking at sexual assault, you're looking at sexual abuse of minors, right? And those are not outside the statute of limitations.
No, just that's what I was just bringing up too, like the minors thing. Like everything is just focused on Cassie, 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 Cassie. But what about the minors that was like affected by this? Like I don't hear that being talked about enough. But who am I to judge, or who am I to say? I'm not a prosecutor. I don't know nothing about that, but I do think that's kind of weird, bro. Like Cassie, I understand. He attacked her. He did her wrong and stuff like that. And he did her terribly wrong. Like, that was disgusting. That video was like, I never do no woman like that. I never put my hands on a woman. Like, I've been punched by women too. Like, that shit wild, bro.
People that at least were alleged to have helped Diddy perpetuate these sex crimes, and whether it's a Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell or R. Kelly, when you're running an enterprise like this, and what prosecutors think is a criminal enterprise, is usually folks that are helping the perpetrator, and that's what appears to be the case here. Again, if you believe the victims, which I do.
Yeah, yeah, and he also just in the way that he conducted his business and everything else, he was one of these people that just had an entourage of folks helping him. I think he was operating in a very different world back then that thought he was untouchable. And
Nah, facts.
things have changed, my friend, and the walls are closing in. And I think the government's going to be coming knocking on your door any day now. But we will keep an eye on it as always and keep everyone informed.
Yeah, so that's it right there. It's all about the Diddler. And like I said, guys, if you want to check out that video that I'm making, please like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe and hit that notification bell so when I do drop the video, you're the first one to see it, and share it with your friends and all that so we can help the channel grow. I do appreciate everybody watching, and look out for the next video. I'm gonna be dropping these motherfuckers frequently because Diddy is a monster.